Denning?
Hi.
You know who I am?
I'm afraid not. You looking for a charter?
I'm Marshal Briggs. Ellie Briggs' husband. That just happens to be my wife you've been entertaining on this floating love nest.
Look, Mr. Briggs, I hardly know your wife.
Then it won't come as a crushing blow if I offer you $5,000 right now to leave her alone.
You must be something else. Ellie and I, we're only friends.
No use lying. I've known it's been going on for some time. Now that I've found you, I'm willing to pay $5,000 in unreported cash.
I'd like to oblige, but you'd be wasting your money.
All right, $10,000. And if you think it's going to be worth more, playing her along until she becomes a rich divorcee, you can forget it. I never let go.
I ought to take your money. I really ought to. You don't buy wives anymore. That went out with the rum runners.
I'd advise you to take my offer.
I'd advise you to get the hell off my boat.
$10,000. That could buy you a lot of entertainment with women who are less attached.
10,000? 20,000? If you can't keep Ellie at home, it's no wonder. Maybe she got tired of snuggling up to a money clip. Now you get out of here.
I'm not leaving until we reach an agreement. Here.
You're leaving now. And take your money with you.
Morris? I'm Barnaby Jones.
I do. Excuse his appearance. He really was going on a fishing trip today.
That's right. I just came in for my mail, and Betty told me about your brother being missing.
Yes.
Well, why don't you sit back down here, Miss Morris, and talk about that.
Mrs. Morris. My brother is Gary Denning.
Oh, Mrs. Morris. How long has your brother been missing?
2 days now. Normally, I wouldn't think anything of it. Gary lives down on that attractive boat of his, and sometimes he forgets to call me. Born bachelor, I guess you'd say.
Well, even a bachelor has to be someplace. Maybe he just took off on his boat.
No, his boat's in the slip. Somebody saw him take it out Tuesday afternoon. He came back that night, and nobody's seen him since.
Well, maybe he found something a little more forgetfully attractive someplace ashore.
Oh, I can't believe that now. You see, Gary and I both inherited a couple $1,000s apiece from an uncle back east, and we'd been waiting for it to arrive. And a lawyer was going to get it and have us sign papers. Now, Gary was calling me 3 times a day, asking when.
Maybe he just gave up on becoming an heir.
Hardly. You see, Gary's always broke making payments on that boat of his. You know, sometimes he'll take on charters and he works at this and that, but he's always short.
The money arrived and he didn't show up.
Just when I had the appointment with the lawyer set, I called Gary, and he said he'd be right over. That was 2 days ago, and he didn't come. Mr. Jones, 2 broken legs wasn't going to keep him from that appointment. I'm worried. Terribly worried.
Got a picture?
Yes, This was taken last year.
This'll do very nicely. You'd be amazed at how many people hire a private investigator to find somebody and don't bring a picture. Well, let me get some of these facts down here before I forget them.
Barnaby, would you like me to call the lodge and tell your friends maybe next year?
Sounds like a good idea. Imagine how big those fish are going to be when I finally get to them. There's a boat at the marina.
Morning. Nice day.
Hey, mister! Are you thinking of chartering Gary's boat?
Well, I'm looking for Gary Denning, actually. Have you seen him?
No, not in the last couple of days. We live next door. Well, we don't actually live on the boat. I almost live down here, though, and that's a switch. Most husbands buy a boat for themselves, right? But Frank got fooled. I'm here more than he is.
Well, that's a good one on Frank.
No, he likes me to have a good time. Says I'm more fun to live with then. What do you want with Gary?
Well, his sister got worried about him. She hadn't seen him in a couple of days either, so she hired me to kind of have a look around for him.
You a detective?
Yep, private. I see that this boat has had a United States Coast Guard courtesy examination.
Yeah, 2 weeks ago. We all had it. Safety first, you know.
It's kind of funny. I was just up the bow and the anchor's missing.
You lose it once in a while, I guess. Where'd you get the key?
Gary's sister.
My name's Hubble. Marie Hubble.
Oh, Barnaby Jones. I'm pleased to meet you, and I appreciate it if you wouldn't touch anything in here just yet.
Oh, sure. Gee, you don't think anything's happened to Gary?
I don't know what I think yet. I'm kind of a long looker and a slow thinker. Looks like Gary takes good care of his boat.
Oh, his pride and joy.
You have a cover for the motorboat?
Sure, he always kept it covered. Why?
Doesn't seem to be aboard. And he didn't plug into the dockside power line last time he brought the boat in. Well, what do we got here?
Looks like somebody lost part of their granny glasses.
I don't think it'd do Granny much good, not prescription. And it doesn't look like a watch crystal. Here's our Granny right here.
Must have fallen out.
Surprised the Coast Guard didn't catch that. Gary have many girlfriends?
A parade.
Just part of the parade?
I'll be. It's her.
Girlfriend?
No, I don't think so. I only remember seeing her once.
When did you see her?
2 days ago. The last time I saw Gary.
Wonder why I'd keep this picture around if she wasn't a girlfriend.
Golly, I don't know. I never really got to know any of his girlfriends, except Jackie. She's a waitress on the harbor cruise boat.
No, I never saw her before at all. Oh, even through these, nothing. Oh, but I mean, Gary must have had a stable. I never fooled myself that I was his one and only.
Jackie, you say you haven't seen Gary since you broke up with him. How long ago was that?
Oh, we said so long and shook hands 3-4 months ago. I still like him. But I mean, a girl likes to feel it's going somewhere, you know?
And with Gary, you didn't think it was?
Well, no. Oh, I could kick myself. You know something, Mr. Jones?
I met this actor type a month later and married him, thinking I could quit this job. And then I find out that the only reason he married me was because I had a job.
Too bad you don't come with a warranty. Then you could return them if they don't work. Ever play tennis with Gary?
Nah. Well, he took me to that club to watch him play a couple of times. He's got great legs, Gary. You know, I never saw her there, but I have seen him.
Friend of Gary's?
No, he's what they call, the guy who gives the lessons, the one in charge,
Pro?
Fix something or another. He had great legs, too.
You come here often?
No, I seldom have the time. But since it's so convenient and that property we wanted to look at, I thought I'd give it a try. Looks palatable.
Quite good. Why don't I have Louise look into this? She's been taking up tennis lately.
Tell her to call Ellie. That's the reason I joined.
I was so worried. I was afraid I wouldn't see you again.
No, it's my fault, I know that. But after that argument, I just had to get away. I had to think things over. I stayed with some friends in Phoenix.
I looked for you everywhere. I even went down to the marina to see if you were staying with Gary on the boat.
Ellie, I've made up my mind. It's not gonna work this way. I can't share you with somebody else.
I know. But I need time, Vic.
I love you very much, Ellie. I want to marry you.
Vic, I can't throw away 9 years just like that. I love you. And I want to be with you, too.
You're afraid of him.
Darling, I am afraid of what he might do.
Ellie, you can't live like this.
Darling, I couldn't live at all if I didn't have you.
Waiter.
Well, if that don't beat all.
Did you find some fingerprints?
Not a one.
Do I hear the sound of a theory falling apart?
Not at all. Betty, does it strike you as odd that there are no fingerprints on there? I mean, not one. I mean, not one at all.
Someone would have to handle it in order to put it back in its holders. Which means...
Which means that somebody probably wiped it clean, which explains that white chalky substance I found on the seam on the back and on the bottom of the extinguisher. Here, take a look.
It's white, granular, slightly abrasive.
Probably a household cleaner.
Maybe someone wanted to remove more than just fingerprints, huh?
Betty, I'm afraid so.
What's that?
Solution of benzidine and hydrogen peroxide. Just a little bit applied to this dried alcohol.
It'll bring out any trace of blood that's not even visible to the naked eye.
It's sort of blue.
That's the color it gets. It's blood, all right. No doubt in my mind that we are looking at a murder weapon. One that was applied with such force that it knocked the lens out of the pressure gauge.
Do you think Gary Denning was murdered?
I'd like to find just one chicken scratch of evidence which says he wasn't.
you looking for?
Oh, the Anderson invitation. I wanted to put the date in my calendar.
I'm sorry, I took it off your desk. I wanted to do the same thing.
Maybe we should keep a single appointment calendar.
Well, I think things like hairdresser and dressmaker might look a little silly on yours.
You seem to have recovered from your depression of the last few days.
Yes, well, I took your advice, and I skipped my diet pill this morning. I guess you were right.
Good. I'm glad. By the way, I dropped by the tennis club today.
Oh?
Yeah. You're always suggesting I try their lunch. I was hoping I'd get to see you play. But I completely forgot that Emily said you were going shopping.
Well, if I had known, I'd have made other plans.
You're still taking lessons?
Yes. Why?
You must be pretty good by now. Maybe I ought to take up the game myself. Who's your instructor?
Vic Dayton. But you always said you didn't have time.
Maybe I should make time.
I have to run this by Millie's. I'll be back in an hour.
You know the lady?
Sure, I know her. Why?
Well, I'd kind of like to talk to her if I could get her name and address.
Well, I really don't think it's my place to just give out the names of members. You know, I just work here.
Well, Mr. Dayton, I'm a private investigator. Gary Denning is missing. His sister hired me to find him. Now, I was told that this lady was one of the last people to see him. So I thought if I found you, I might find her, and then maybe I could figure out what happened to him. My work is very simple when you get right down to it, isn't it?
Something happened to Gary?
Well, nothing I'm sure of yet, but I thought if I talked to
Mrs. Briggs, but I don't think she can help you, sir.
Well, they seem to know each other very well in the picture.
Oh, I teamed them up for mixed doubles a few times, that's all. But I really don't think she can help you, Mr. Jones.
You have her address? Now, you're not going to make me strain these tired old eyes on the fine print in the phone book, are you?
Pine Court. A big house with a gate, 169, I think.
That's good. That's real good.
What is?
Well, I mean, you must have 500, 600 members. And you can remember all their addresses. Well, guess that's what makes a pro.
minute.
Thank you.
If you'll follow me, please.
Miss Briggs, I'm Barnaby Jones. I hope I haven't disturbed you.
Well, I was a little bit disturbed by your call. Would you like some coffee?
Oh, no, thank you.
Well, Mr. Jones, what is all this about Gary Denning? You say he's, missing?
Well, it surely looks that way. I've been just putting one foot in front of the other, trying to piece this whole thing together, and from what I've gathered, you may be the last person who really saw him.
Oh? What makes you say that?
The lady on the boat, parked next to his, said that she saw you aboard talking to him 3 days ago. Is that right?
Oh. Yes, I guess I was.
Are you a close friend of Gary?
We are inseparable, but only on the tennis court. Gary and I play about the same game, so we're often matched in doubles. Mr. Jones, did my husband hire you to follow me around?
I'm afraid I'm too tall to be your shadow.
I was just wondering. Won't you sit down?
Thank you. Do you visit Gary often on his boat?
Well, no. As a matter of fact, I didn't even know where it was until the other day.
Well, that checks out what the man down the office at the marina said. He had difficulty finding it.
Yes, well, I was down by the marina shopping, and Gary had always said if I was in the area to stop in and we'd play a couple of sets of tennis.
Why didn't you?
Well, he couldn't. He said something about a lawyer. He had to see his sister.
He never showed up. You always carry your tennis clothes around with you in your car, Miss Briggs?
Really, Mr. Jones, I'm beginning to feel like I'm being cross-examined.
Who's cross-examining you, dear?
Mr. Jones, this is my husband, Marshal Briggs. Mr. Jones is a private investigator.
How do you do, Mr. Briggs?
What did you do? Back into somebody's fender with your car?
Definitely not guilty.
Just a few routine questions, Mr. Briggs. I'd been hired to find out what happened to Gary Denning, and I thought it might be helpful to have him talk with your wife.
Oh? You've been running a missing persons bureau in my absence?
Well, if she has, I'm sure it's doomed to failure because she hasn't been too much help, but I'm going to give you one more chance. If you should happen to find out anything about Gary, even around the tennis court, would you call me?
Sure.
Thank you. A pleasure, Mr. Briggs.
You're home early.
Seems to me I've heard you mention a Gary Denning.
Yes, you have. I've told you about 100 times that Gary and I won the mixed doubles twice at the club.
Oh, yes, now I remember.
I wonder what on earth could have happened to Gary.
Mr. Dayton, Barnaby Jones. Take a deep breath. More.
Jones.
Never mind. Just breathe. You can tell me about it later.
I think somebody tried to rob me.
I think somebody tried to kill you, Mr. Dayton. I think I know why. Here. Medical science has proven this stuff isn't worth a fig for snake bite, but I have found it helpful on occasion for a bonk on the head. I'll get it. Good evening, Miss Briggs.
Vic didn't say he had company.
I'm not exactly company. I asked him to call you. Won't you come in?
Thank you. Vic, what's wrong? What happened?
It's all right. It's okay, honey.
It's all right, Miss Briggs. You don't have to do around it anymore. Mr. Dayton has told me all about you, too. I don't intend to sit in judgment on what's been going on, but I think you ought to know there have probably been some pretty serious results.
You're hurt. What happened?
Somebody must have been waiting for me when I got home. Clobbered me from behind.
Probably with this one. The cleanest one up there. Looks like it's been wiped.
Well, didn't you see who it was?
No.
He even took a shot at me as he was leaving. Whoever it was wanted Dayton dead. He dragged him out to the car, started the engine, and tried to make it look like suicide, I guess.
He tried to kill you, Vic?
Yeah. A lot of unnecessary trouble to go to for just a burglar. Mr. Dayton said the only thing missing was a cigarette lighter.
It's yours. The tiger's eye.
You think Marshall had something to do with this?
I want to talk to you about that, Miss Briggs. Do you think that your husband would have been capable of killing Gary Denning and then come over here and try to kill Mr. Dayton just because he thought that you might be involved with him?
Gary's dead?
I'm within a shade of believing that he is.
But why would Marshall or anyone else kill Gary Denning on account of me? I mean, we were just casual friends.
I think that Gary Denning was killed by mistake. And if it was your husband, he found out about the mistake, I think he came back over here to correct it.
It's It's so hard to believe. I mean, I know that Marshall is jealous and violent sometimes, but I can't imagine that he'd kill anyone.
I haven't any proof that he did, Mrs. Briggs. None that's worth more than a nickel in a dime store, at least. But I just can't seem to put my finger on anybody else in the whole state of California who would want both these men friends of yours dead.
She can't go back home. I won't let her.
Maybe she won't have to.
No word from Mrs. Briggs yet, sir?
No, Emily, nothing. See what that is.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Briggs?
You always drop by unexpectedly, Jones.
I'm sorry, Mr. Briggs. I was hoping to see your wife.
She's not here.
You know where I could find her? It's rather important.
Afraid not. What's so very important?
Well, that's something I'd rather discuss with your wife.
You come marching in here with the sun hardly up, demanding to see my wife on a very important matter. Now, I'd like to know what it's all about. My wife and I don't keep secrets from each other.
Well, that's something that's open to question.
I don't enjoy cat and mouse. Now, what is it, Jones?
Your wife has been seeing another man.
I don't believe it.
It's a fact. Fact is, she's been seeing the tennis pro at your club, Vic Dayton, for some time. Fact is, Gary Denning found out about it. I think it's a fact that he has been blackmailing them.
Blackmailing?
Yes, I dropped in at Dayton's last night, luckily for him, because some burglar had attacked him and left him for dead. While he was coming to, I had a chance to snoop around. I found 4 canceled $1,000 checks written by Dayton, made out to Denning.
Denning was a blackmailer.
I think Dayton got tired of paying off, paid a visit to Denning on the boat, killed him, took him to sea, got rid of him.
Do you have any proof of this?
I have the canceled checks in my office. I was hoping your wife would give me all the proof I needed.
Hello. It's your office.
Thank you. Eddie? When did he call? She went aboard the boat. I'm leaving right now.
What is it?
I'm afraid your wife is about to supply me with all the answers I needed, Mr. Briggs. I had a man at the marina keep an eye on Gary's boat. He just called my office and said your wife just went aboard.
My wife?
The only reason a murderer returns to the scene of the crime is to find that one little clue they always overlook. Excuse me, Mr. Briggs. I don't think it was a good idea for you to be here, Mr. Briggs.
Where's my wife?
She's gone. She saw my man watching her, and I guess she got scared and took off, so you've come all this way for nothing.
Did you find anything?
I'm about to go over the whole cabin with a reagent.
Reagent?
Yeah, that's a solution of benzidine and hydrogen peroxide.
What'll that prove?
Don't touch anything, Mr. Briggs. Fingerprints could be important. This spray will bring out the faintest trace of blood Not even visible to the naked eye. Like magic.
What makes you think Denning was killed here on the boat?
Well, I noticed the bow anchor was missing. And then the canvas boat cover. So I figured somebody got rid of a body. All wrapped and weighted.
Or else there are a lot of light-fingered people around here.
Well, yeah, unless I find a murder weapon.
You're saying Denning was shot?
No, somebody would hear that. Well, what do we got here?
What is it?
Like some kind of a lens. Oh, excuse me a minute. Mr. Briggs, I think we found our murder weapon. Force of the blow must have knocked this lens right out. Yeah, I was afraid of that.
What?
Wiped clean. Residue looks like it was a household cleanser. They missed one little place up here at the top. Well, what do you know? Two very, very good prints. Blood. Blood and fingerprints. And the lab will tell me whose blood, whose prints. I just hope for your sake, Mr. Briggs, that they don't turn out to be your wife.
You're not taking that anywhere, Jones.
Well, Mr. Briggs, you almost disappointed me. I didn't know how long I was going to have to wait before you told me that you murdered Gary Denning.
Well, now that I've told you, you can tell it all to the Sharks. I'll take your gun. Put that down. Now, over there by the wheel. Now start this thing up.
Mr. Briggs, I'm afraid this just isn't your day for boating. I forgot to tell you I came down earlier and disconnected the starter. Just in case the police didn't show up on time. Speaking of the police... I give up a fishing trip for this? I had to trick him. My story about the phony checks, business with the fingerprints, wasn't any other way.
We've been living with deception for a long time, Mr. Jones. Maybe now we won't have to.
Well, I guess that's up to the two of you. Love is the most misused four-letter word around. I hope you make something good out of it.
Thank you.
Yeah, what do you want?
Anything to declare?
Nope.
What's this?
Coffee.
Coffee it is. Have a nice day ashore, Mr. Hollister.
Come on, Bert's got it. Let's get out of here.
Relax, will you? We know where to find him.
Come on, Bert's leaving. Let's go.
Relax, what's a rush?
That was awful. There should have been another way.
We didn't have any choice. Hollister made the first move when he tried to deal behind our backs.
Still, it doesn't seem right. We were friends.
Yeah, that's right. We were friends until he tried to steal the $600,000 for himself. Don't worry about it. You know, we ought to be thankful to Bert. He found a way to do it quickly.
Bert, I'm sorry we're late. I tried to get Vince to keep up, but... Oh, my God.
He's dead.
It's not here. The thermos is not here, Vince.
Did you talk to anybody, Warren?
What are you talking about?
Only 4 of us knew about it. 2 are dead. I didn't talk to anybody.
Well, it wasn't me. I swear it. I swear it.
You didn't talk to anybody? You didn't make a deal with anybody?
Not me. Maybe Bert let something slip, or Hollister, for that matter.
All right. But somebody knows about it.
Yeah, but who?
We'll figure that out later. First, we got to get rid of Bert's body.
No, wait a minute. Not me.
You want to start answering a lot of questions when they find the body? He's getting heavy. Get him in.
You know, they got to find him. Sooner or later, they got to find him.
Not necessarily. All this junk will be halfway to Japan before they even think of looking for him.
Now all we have to do is find that thermos.
That thing makes more noise than a tomcat caught in a barbed wire fence.
I guess you get used to it. 28 years on the docks, you get used to a lot of things.
Yeah, I guess you do. You ever see an accident like the one that killed Hollister before?
Cable brake failure? It happens, not often.
But you can't duplicate it.
Well, that doesn't prove anything. You know, when they inspected that brake, they found that it wasn't even worn. Just goes to show you can't trust machinery.
Or people. You sure there was nobody else around the rig?
I told the police that I was at least 100 yards away when that load fell. Me and the gang steward was having a little set-to about how fast I was moving the cargo. If you don't believe me, ask that punk steward.
Well, Mr. Fountain, I was hired by California Meridian Insurance to investigate the accident, to determine the extent of their liability. Roy Hollister has an uncle in Cleveland who stands to collect a bundle.
It's like a lot of those insurance companies. They try to wriggle out from under it.
And you feel it was an accident?
Oh, yeah, it couldn't be anything else. After I got back to the cab, the brake lever was just the way I left it.
How long was that?
Well, it was after the ambulances had left. Police were still there, of course, and the steward.
I understand. You don't think of those things at a time like that.
You know how I got it figured? It was Providence, Mr. Jones. That feller's time was just up. Providence.
Well, my problem is to find out whether Providence had a helping hand.
Boy.
yes, sir.
Help you?
Well, I hope so. Nice dog you got here.
Barnaby's one of the finest drug inspectors in the service.
Barnaby? Interesting name for a dog. Highly intelligent-looking animal.
I didn't catch your name.
Jones. I'm checking out the accident for California Meridian Insurance.
Oh, yeah, Hollister.
You know him?
Well, only from his passport. I saw his utility bag, name on most of his clothing.
You seem very observant.
Well, this is part of our job. You'd be amazed what some people try to slip past us.
Hollister give you trouble?
No, his bag contained only the ordinary items.
Like what, for instance?
Well, let's see, a change of clothing, a thermos, razor blades, the normal toilet articles, that's all. Okay?
Fine. Did you notice what happened to the bag after the accident? It seems they've gotten lost.
No, in the excitement, I'm afraid I didn't.
You mentioned the thermos. Was anything in it?
Coffee?
That's what the customs fellow said Hollister had in his thermos.
Yeah, well, it's diesel fuel aboard this tub tastes a lot better.
You didn't build it up too much. A little thicker, this could pass for axle grease.
Yeah, it's a fitting cause for mutiny.
Makes you wonder why Hollister would have taken a thermos over to shore. What kind of a fellow was he?
He was a good worker. He's a heavy equipment operator overseas before he quit and signed up with us for the trip home. Trying to get him to stay aboard.
But he didn't.
Hollister was a man with plans.
What kind of plans?
Well, he never did say, but I have a feeling they were big. You know, when you've been to sea as long as myself, you get to be able to read a man. But ever since he came aboard...
Where was that?
Cambodia. Why?
Just wondering. Mr. Murphy, that bag that the customs agent mentioned, it didn't show up in Hollister's effects. You suppose it could have been brought back aboard and got misplaced somewhere?
We checked everything. Well, there's this work locker. Maybe somebody stuffed it back in there.
Can we take a look?
Sure, come on.
There it is.
Well, let's see. Nothing. Not a sign of a bag.
Here's something.
Funny, they don't fit.
On the contrary, this may be the only thing about the case that does fit.
Oh, hi. Wonder when you were coming back. Did you decide to do your Christmas shopping early?
I picked up a few things.
Oh, California Meridian called. They're anxious to see your report on the Hollister case.
So am I. So am I.
Listen, What's all this about?
Coffee.
Coffee?
Or what Roy Hollister would have wanted people to believe was coffee. Betty, if I guessed right, you can call California Meridian Insurance and tell them to hold up payment on the claim for that accident, because it may have been murder and not an accident at all.
All because of coffee?
All because of something of value that was supposed to be coffee. Now, would you get me the water? And watch carefully, because I once saw a man in a circus make an elephant disappear this way. Right. The water. Now, for all intents and purposes, what do we have?
A thermos of water. Oh, coffee. That's clever. What made you think of it?
Well, I found some pieces like this in Hollister's personal effects. The customs officer said that Hollister was carrying a thermos just like this when he was killed.
And the thermos hasn't turned up.
Right.
So the accident begins to smell not so accidental. What was he smuggling, drugs?
No, I don't think so, because the customs dog would have probably sniffed him out, and he didn't. There was room in here to conceal something of value.
If you're right, Hollister's death becomes convenient and profitable to someone.
Betty, I'd like to see the dossier that California Meridian sent over on Hollister. And I want the name of the firm that Hollister worked for overseas.
Well, that's Westland Engineering, and their home office is in Orange County. How's that for efficiency?
Better be careful of that, Betty. You'll leave yourself with nothing to do for the rest of the day.
Hello, Myra.
Hi, Vince.
Well, aren't you going to ask me in?
Oh, well,
Come on, open up. I'm sorry to bother you. I wouldn't have come, except it's important. What's the matter, Myra? Something wrong?
No. No, I'm just a little extra nervous lately. I'm worried about Bert. I haven't seen or heard from him, have you?
As a matter of fact, that's part of the reason for my coming. I have some stuff that I borrowed from Bert, and when I tried to return it, I found that he had moved.
Hold on, Vince. Hold on, Vince. Just hold it, Vince. Just hold it. What are you doing here?
Put that gun away. Think, Warren. I mean, would I be here now if I knew where the Buddha was?
Warren, put the gun away. Please. Okay, you guys. Let's tell me what's going on.
Well, the thing is, we need some information. Did Bert ever mention any close friends? I mean, other than Warren and myself.
You know, Bert, everyone's his friend.
No, he means somebody else other than the three of us. Somebody that Bert might have trusted. I mean, somebody he met recently. Did he mention any names?
I don't know. I can't think of any. Why ask me? Why don't you ask Bert? You can ask Bert, can't you? Something has happened to him, hasn't it?
Well, you see, we were on this job together, and it was kind of dangerous.
Tell him, Warren. Bert knew what he was getting himself into.
Okay. Let's tell me. Where is he? What's happened to him?
Bert's dead.
What?
We had nothing to do with it.
I don't believe you. How could that have happened?
Well, he was murdered.
He was shot. We don't know who did it. I mean, I guess that's why we're here. We figured he may have said something. Mentioned somebody. Give us a line on who did it.
Where is he now?
Well, we had to get rid of the body.
What do you mean you had to get rid of the body?
A salvage yard. By now he's on a scrap boat halfway to Japan. There's nothing else we could have done, Myra.
Oh, no, no! Get out!
I want to tell you.
Get out of here! Come on, leave me alone! Just get out! Just get out! Get out! Get out!
Roy Hollister? Roy was what I call a perspiration engineer. As good a man with heavy equipment as I ever saw. Could teach it, too.
That why they sent him to Cambodia?
Yeah. But then he volunteered for all the hot spots. Vietnam, Laos, Cambodia, you name it.
Seems to me it'd be rough enough just getting a day's work done without gorillas popping out at you all the time.
You can say that again. But then
Roy was a cool head at times like that. You know, he was something of a hero.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Well, there's a clipping of it. I'm right inside the door of my trailer. Help yourself.
Thanks. Sangidar. Sounds familiar.
Well, you probably read about it in the papers. It's an Asian temple.
Says here they were trapped in there for 3 days.
They might still be there if Roy hadn't sneaked through guerrilla lines to get help.
These other men, they're still with the company?
Well, Davis is. He's our field supervisor. And Bucola handles the heavy stuff like Roy. He's still around. I don't know about Logan. He's freelance. Haven't seen anything of him since they closed down the Asian project.
You have any idea why Hollister didn't fly back home with the rest of them? Seems to me working your way back on a freighter is a long way home.
You got me. Maybe Davis and Bucola could tell you.
You know where I can find him?
Well, Bucola generally hangs out around the maintenance shack. Davis is another matter. He's all over the place in that truck of his.
Much obliged. Would you mind if I keep this picture? I'll get it back to you in a couple of days after I get a copy made.
Sure. Oh, looks like you're in luck. There's Davis now.
Mr. Davis?
Sir.
I'm Barnaby Jones, investigating the death of Roy Hollister for California Meridian Insurance.
Oh, yes, that was awful. It was funny, though. I mean, after all he'd been through to go out that way.
I just got a few questions I'd like to clear up.
Like what?
Well, I was hoping you might be able to tell me why Mr. Hollister chose not to fly home with the rest of you. Why he signed on that ship.
Afraid you're asking the wrong man. Actually, Roy and I weren't that close.
Oh? I assume from this picture you were.
Look, we just worked together. I don't know why he did things. Still, I'm sorry about what happened to him.
Yeah, I imagine you would be, especially since it saved your life.
Roy knew I was grateful. Is there anything else I can do for you?
Well, I'm not sure. Since you and Roy weren't that friendly, you probably wouldn't know anything about the thermos that he went ashore with.
Thermos? What thermos?
The one that's missing.
I'm afraid I can't help you.
Well, you've already helped quite a bit. Oh, do you happen to know where I can find Bert Logan?
We haven't kept in touch since we got back.
What about Mr. Bucola? He still works at the firm?
Yes, he does. He's not here this afternoon. His son got to him. He went home early.
Would you have that address?
Yeah. He's at the Wellborn Apartments on Collins near Park.
Thanks again, Mr. Davis.
Yeah.
Mr. Bucola? Mr. Bucola?
The coroner ruled Vincent Bucola's death an accident. He died approximately 1 hour before you arrived there.
No fun being right when you know you're wrong.
You don't agree that it was an accident?
Couldn't prove it was anything else.
But you don't believe it. Why?
Too convenient.
I sworn I was just starting to get somewhere. That Davis, well, he was covering himself up, that's for sure.
What do you think? He killed Bucola?
No, time-wise, too close. Just too close.
What else?
Too many accidents on this case.
Barnaby, that's no evidence.
What about the shower curtain?
What about it?
It was outside the tub. Everybody knows that when you take a shower, you put the curtain inside the tub when the shower's running.
Well, you can't sway a jury with that.
No, I guess not. You got anything on Logan?
Well, nothing definite yet. He left his apartment about 2 days ago. Left no forwarding address, but I did get the name of his girlfriend, Myra Staley. That's her address.
I better talk to her. I just thought of somebody that might be able to help us. Chick Forrester in the State Department, security office. Call him. Tell him I'd like to see him.
He'll want to know whether it's fishing or business.
Tell him it's business, but I'll be doing a little fishing.
Chick Forrester, please.
Go away.
Miss Staley? Miss Staley, can I talk to you?
Okay. Yeah, what do you want?
My name's Barnaby Jones. I'd like to talk to you a minute.
Look, I don't want to talk to anyone. I don't feel so good. I just don't want to talk to anyone.
Just take it easy. Just sit right down here.
Thank you.
Just sip this. When did you eat last?
I don't remember.
Well, if you're planning to break any records, you gotta eat. Or that stuff will break you. Here, finish it.
Who are you and what do you want?
I'm a private detective trying to find Bert Logan.
Oh. Oh.
Now just sit back and relax.
Look what I look like.
That's good. When a lady starts worrying about how she looks, that means she's feeling better.
You're very nice. Why do you want to find Bert?
I think he's in trouble. Serious trouble. And from the sound of your voice when you mentioned his name a moment ago, I think the same thought may have occurred to you.
I haven't seen Bert for a long time. You assume quite a lot, Mr. Jones.
Not when I can get the truth. The truth isn't always in people's words. It's in a woman's eye. The way she tenses up when she hears a certain name. Or the ache in her voice when she says it. I'd say that Bert Logan meant a lot to you, Miss Staley. I want to help. Unless I miss my guess, his life's in danger.
No. He isn't in any danger. He's dead. He was murdered.
You know that for certain?
Ward Davis and Vince Bucola were here yesterday. They told me.
Did he also tell you who killed him?
No. They were looking for something. Something the killer had taken, I suppose.
And he thought you might know who had it. I hate to ask you this, but did they happen to say what happened to the body?
There is no body.
I don't understand.
They said something about salvage. Scrapboat.
Sorry, mister. Truly sorry.
Barnaby, how are you?
Chick, just coming up to see you.
My girl said that Betty called. What can I do for you?
You still in the East Asian Bureau?
Sure. You want to claim political asylum in Tahiti or something?
Not yet. This is information. Sangidang Temple. Ever hear of it?
Yeah. Yeah, I've heard of it. Tell me, is it important?
Could be. What's the matter? Security?
No, it's just embarrassing, Barnaby. One of those small catastrophes that seem to be plaguing us wherever we go these days.
Like what?
The monks at the temple have been screaming bloody murder ever since we pulled our economic mission out of there.
Let me guess. They just discovered there was something of great value missing.
How do you know that? You're right. It's a small item called the Sun Ming Buddha.
Sun Ming Buddha. Can you give me a description?
I can do better than that. I'll put you in touch with an expert. And if you can locate the Buddha, I'll buy you the finest steak in Los Angeles.
Sounds important.
It's a matter of saving face, Barnaby. It's just one of a series of things. The monks claim that we looted a sacred object. If we can prove them wrong, it'll be a big help to us.
What's the Buddha worth?
Small fortune, but even more than money.
Not to some people.
Hi, Mr. Johns.
Hi, I'm looking for Davis.
Well, you'll find him just under the bridge.
Thanks.
Welcome.
Good afternoon, Mr. Davis.
Oh, Jones, isn't it?
That's very kind of you to remember. You got a minute? I got a couple more questions.
I've told you everything I know.
Funny, Myra Staley thought you might have a lot more to say.
Myra Staley's a drunk.
She said you told her that Bert Logan was murdered and you helped dispose of the body.
She can say anything she likes. I had nothing to do with that.
What about Mr. Bucola? You're a fool if you sent me over there knowing he was dead.
Why would I? Besides, they said it was an accident.
Like Hollister was an accident? I suppose you didn't know anything about that either.
You're guessing, aren't you, Mr. Jones?
Am I?
And not very good either. Look, if you don't mind, I've got some work to do.
What if I told you I know about the Sun Ming Buddha?
The sun what? Look, I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about.
And you better check your insurance. It's a bad case of dying going around in your circle of friends.
Jones. You all right?
Yeah, I'm fine. Where's Davis? I was just talking to him.
Hasn't come down. He must still be up there.
Davis! Mr. Jones! Davis is here. I understand the Sun Ming Buddha is 1,400 years old.
Can't be dated exactly. Could easily be even older.
One solid emerald. Very impressive carving.
An antiquarian like yourself can well appreciate the workmanship. With a precious stone riding at the outcome, the artisan's head was in jeopardy also.
How much would something like this be worth?
Properly cut, the intrinsic value of this emerald is approximately $300,000. But as an object of art, well over $1 million.
That's the way they'll move it.
Well, how can you be so sure?
A freshly cut emerald leaves hardly any trail in the gem market. But whoever has the Buddha has already gone to a lot of trouble to cover up his tracks. That means they're going for the big money. They're going to try to sell it in one piece.
Very shrewd. Mr. Forrester said that you had hopes of recovering the Buddha.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
That is right. I knew when it was taken. I even knew how it was smuggled into the country. The only thing I didn't count on is that somebody wanted it bad enough to leave 3 bodies in his wake.
I thought there were 4 murders.
Only 3 bodies. Count them. Hollister, Davis, Piccola.
Oh, what about Logan?
In his case, there was no body. All we have is Myra Staley's word, and she got her information secondhand.
Bert? Oh.
Shh. It's all over now. It's all over.
Why didn't you tell me?
I had to make believe I was really dead, honey. You couldn't have faked it through by yourself. We both know that.
Vince and Warren, they made it seem real.
It was real. For Warren.
I don't understand.
Vince was in on it. He helped me make it look as though I'd really been shot. Don't you understand, Myra? If we could convince Davis that the Buddha was really gone, we only split 2 ways.
Vince is dead.
I know. Now we don't have to split it all.
Sometimes you frighten me.
Honey, here it is. Look at that. It's all ours. Now all we have to do is find the man and pick up the money. $600,000. A new life for both of us.
No, Andy, I don't think so.
Go ahead, take it. It's a present. Just don't drop it.
Hi, Andy. Nice of you to come see me.
Jones, before you start, I'm in costume stuff now, strictly legitimate. 4 years and 5 months behind bars convinced me.
Seems to me you told me the same thing a few years ago when you were handling more hot jewelry than Sir Francis Drake.
Yeah? Only this time it's true. Ask Betty. See? Looks like $1 million sells for $1.
Excuse me.
Andy, I need information. This is very big. Emerald Buddha. Worth more than $1 million.
Buddha? What do I know about Buddhas? I told you. I'm out of the hot jewelry racket.
Andy, they have killed 3 people, maybe 4.
Yeah? That could give the business a bad name.
The way I figure, there are only 3 men in the whole world who can fence anything this big and this hot without cutting it first. Ranger in New York, Callinger in Lebanon, Hoffman in Holland. Coverly could handle it, but he's in Quentin.
Honest, Barnaby, they don't tell me anything anymore.
Andy, you owe me.
okay. Maybe Granger's taking a deal.
From New York?
Try the Carlisle Apartments. He just got into town a couple days ago.
Exquisite. There's absolutely no doubt of its authenticity. My buyer will be very pleased.
Fine. Now, if you don't mind, I'll take the money. I have a plane to catch.
Of course. It's all there. 600,000. You know, we could have closed the deal 2 days ago if you hadn't insisted on small bills. Hello. It's for you.
Hello?
Hold it. All right, nice and easy now. The gun over your shoulder.
How'd you know I was going to pay you a call?
I got a friend downstairs.
But the only one you got left is Myra. I got a friend downstairs, too. The manager.
That's fine. Inside. Sit down.
Who is he?
Now, take it easy. He's not a cop. He's just a private detective.
This was not part of the deal. What's going on?
I'll handle it.
Yes, like a wolf handled a sheep. I'm afraid you bought more than you bargained for, Mr. Granger. Logan here just sold you a piece of 3 murders.
Is that true?
I said I'll handle it. Now you take the Buddha and get out of here. I'll take care of Jones.
Oh, sorry. We had a deal, but it did not include murder.
You see, Logan, a man in Mr. Granger's line of work has ethics. Thieving is one thing, murder is another.
Just leave the money right where it is.
Now, look, I told you the deal is off.
I said you take the Buddha or nothing.
I'm a businessman, not a fool.
Then you get nothing.
Don't try it. Now hand it over, nice and easy.
Bert, is everything all right?
Thank you, Myra, for joining the party. Saved a lot of time rounding everyone up. Operator, get me the police.
Sergeant, I'm going to need another copy of this report for California Meridian Insurance. Proving it was a murder is going to save them a bundle.
Barnaby, they said you wanted to see me.
Seems to me, I remember you're saying something about buying me a steak.
You recovered the boat.
Of course, you're going to have to sign a lot of papers. But you government fellas are used to that.
And when I do, the State Department will be happy to buy you a whole steer.
Whole steer? Look, I don't want to throw the country into an economic crisis. I'll settle for a couple of steaks.
You got a deal.
The sea breeze carried a heavy, salt-laden chill as it swept across the docks of the industrial harbor. It was a place of iron, rust, and the relentless, mechanical rhythm of loading cranes. Barnaby Jones stood near the edge of the pier, his sharp eyes scanning the shadows where the massive containers loomed like steel monoliths. Beside him, the silence of the night was broken only by the distant, rhythmic creaking of the cargo ships groaning against their moorings. This was a place where secrets were easily swallowed by the deep water, a fact that had clearly not escaped the men he was currently tracking. Barnaby adjusted his coat, his expression one of weary resolve. He had spent his life navigating the complexities of human nature, and he knew that beneath the mundane surface of a shipping accident lay a story of greed that had already cost far too many lives. Roy Hollister had been a man with plans, a worker who had seen the world from the cabs of heavy equipment in Cambodia and Vietnam. He was a survivor of war zones, a man who had famously navigated guerrilla lines to save his fellow workers. Yet, here on the docks of home, he had met his end in a freakish accident involving a falling load. It was the kind of tragedy that insurance companies like California Meridian typically settled with a sigh and a check. But Barnaby was not there to sign off on a routine claim. He was there because of a thermos, a simple, everyday object that had mysteriously vanished from the scene of the death. Barnaby recalled his visit to the site earlier that day. He had spoken with the men who had worked alongside Hollister, men like the nervous and evasive Davis and the late Vincent Bicola. The air had been thick with tension, a palpable fear that seemed to permeate the very atmosphere of the maintenance yard. When he had first met the customs agent, he had been told about the thermos, an item that was supposed to have contained coffee but was clearly the catalyst for a desperate, murderous scramble. The realization had struck him with the clarity of a bell. Someone had smuggled something of immense value into the country, using the guise of a mundane workplace accident to cover their tracks. As Barnaby walked toward the office of the salvage firm, his mind traced the connections. He knew about the Sun Ming Buddha, a sacred artifact of solid emerald that had been reported missing after an economic mission was withdrawn from an Asian temple. The State Department had been desperate to recover it, not just for its monumental value, but for the sake of international relations and the preservation of face. The trail of bodies, Hollister, Bicola, and the now-missing Logan, was a testament to the lengths to which people would go when confronted with a treasure worth over $1 million. He had realized early on that this was no simple smuggling operation. It was a high-stakes game played by desperate amateurs who had underestimated the scrutiny they would face. Myra Staley, the woman who had played a central role in the deception, had initially seemed like a grieving friend caught in the crossfire. But Barnaby had seen through her performance. The way she tensed when names were mentioned, the subtle shift in her eyes, these were the telltales of someone hiding a deeper, more calculated truth. He had known, even before the pieces fell into place, that the narrative of the murdered Logan was merely a smokescreen. The staged death of Burt Logan had been designed to funnel the entire fortune into the hands of those remaining, a scheme born of cold-blooded avarice. The resolution had finally come in the sterile, high-end surroundings of the Carlisle apartments. The smuggler, an expert in the illicit gem trade named Granger, had expected a professional transaction, only to find himself in the middle of a collapsing conspiracy. Barnaby had arrived just in time to stop the final act of the tragedy. He had watched as the facade of the criminals shattered under pressure, their greed turning them against one another the moment the stakes were threatened by his arrival. With the Buddha recovered and the culprits apprehended, the dark, complex web of deceit had been successfully dismantled. Barnaby sat in his office later that evening, the weight of the day beginning to settle. He thought about the thin line between a desire for a better life and the descent into absolute moral failure. The case had been a stark reminder of how easily the promise of wealth could corrupt the human heart. He had prevented a tragedy from fading into an unsolved cold case, and in doing so, had honored the memory of those who had been lost to the darkness of others' ambitions. His work was, by its very nature, a pursuit of the truth, and tonight, the truth had been found amidst the wreckage of a failed, greedy dream. He looked over at his desk, where the paperwork for the final report to California Meridian Insurance waited. It was a tedious, necessary task, one that ensured the insurance company would not pay out on a claim built upon the foundations of murder. He took a sip of his coffee, a bitter, dark brew that stood in stark contrast to the metaphorical coffee that had started the entire investigation. It was a quiet moment of satisfaction, a brief respite before the next mystery beckoned from the horizon. Barnaby knew that his life would continue in this fashion, balancing the scales in a world that often tipped toward the chaotic. He took pride in the quiet, methodical nature of his work, the way he could see patterns where others saw only confusion. He remembered the promise he had made to his government contact, the offer of a steak dinner that he fully intended to collect. It was a simple, grounding reward for a job done well, a reminder that even in the midst of dark investigations, there were moments of levity and shared humanity to be cherished. The city outside his window hummed with the sounds of a late Friday night, oblivious to the drama that had transpired in the shadows of the docks. Barnaby looked out at the lights, feeling a sense of deep, quiet peace. He had done his part, he had stood against the tide of dishonesty, and he had helped, in his own way, to make the world a slightly more predictable, more just place. He reached for his pen, the nib poised over the paper. The report would be thorough, accurate, and final. Just like the truth he had sought, it would leave no room for doubt. As he began to write, the cadence of the investigation filled his thoughts. The initial uncertainty at the crime scene, the carefully crafted lies of those involved, the long, grueling process of tracing the provenance of the stolen artifact, it all flowed together now into a coherent, manageable narrative. There was an elegance to the way the pieces had aligned, a testament to the power of persistence and careful observation. He was not just a detective, he was a chronicler of human mistakes, and tonight, he had ensured that those mistakes would not go unrecorded. The office was warm, the lamp casting a soft, golden glow over the pages. He worked with a steady hand, his mind focused entirely on the clarity of his account. There was no need for embellishment. The facts themselves were sufficiently dramatic. He laid out the timeline, the evidence, the motives, and the eventual capture of the individuals who had sought to profit from the theft of the Sun Ming Buddha. It was a narrative of cautionary proportions, a story that would serve as a reminder to those at the insurance firm of the necessity of vigilance. When he finally finished, the silence of the room felt companionable. He had done more than just solve a case. He had provided closure. The families of the deceased would know that their loved ones' deaths had not been in vain, that the truth had been brought to light. The State Department would regain a piece of its history, and the reputation of the mission would be salvaged. It was these outcomes, more than the paycheck or the prestige, that drove him. He was a man committed to the restoration of order, a guardian of the truth in a world that was often all too happy to abandon it. He stood up and stretched, the long hours finally catching up with him. He walked to the window and looked out at the skyline, a silhouette against the dark, starlit sky. He knew that tomorrow would bring new questions, new challenges, and new mysteries. But for tonight, the ledger was balanced. The cycle of greed had been broken, and justice had been served with the steady, unwavering hand of an expert. He smiled, a small, tired, but genuine expression of contentment. He had lived another day with purpose, and for Barnaby Jones, that was the most important prize of all. As he prepared to leave, he glanced one last time at the files stacked neatly on his desk. Each one represented a life touched by uncertainty, a mystery waiting to be unraveled. He felt a sense of gratitude for the life he led, for the intellect he possessed, and for the opportunity to make a difference in the lives of those he helped. He was a professional, and he carried his responsibilities with a quiet, dignified strength that defined his career. He turned off the light, the room plunging into darkness save for the faint glow from the street lamps outside. He stepped out into the night, ready for whatever the next chapter might hold, his mind clear, his heart at rest, and his resolve stronger than ever. The journey had been long, the path filled with obstacles, but he had remained steadfast. He had navigated the dangers of the criminal underworld with the same calm, deliberate pace that he had used to walk the docks. He had seen the worst of what people could do, but he had also seen the resilience of the truth. It was a lesson he had learned 1,000 times, yet it never failed to impress upon him the importance of his work. He walked toward his car, the sound of his footsteps echoing on the pavement, a solitary beat in the quiet of the city. He was ready for a rest, a meal, and the simple comfort of knowing he had done his best. The mystery of the thermos, the Emerald Buddha, and the tragic deaths of the workers were now part of his past, woven into the fabric of his experience, lessons stored away for the next time he would need to call upon his vast, intuitive understanding of the world. He started the engine, the low hum of the car joining the ambient sounds of the city, and began the drive home, his thoughts already drifting toward the simple pleasures of a quiet morning and the prospect of a good, honest day to come. He thought about the irony of it all, how a man like Hollister, who had faced death in the jungles of Asia, could be taken down by such a mundane and greedy scheme. It was a reminder of the fragility of life and the unpredictability of human nature. Barnaby understood that he could not save everyone, but he could ensure that those who played by the rules were not forgotten. He had a deep, abiding respect for the truth, and he knew that it was the only thing that could truly set the record straight. As he drove, he felt the cool night air through the open window, the freshness of it clearing his mind. He was a man who lived in the present, always ready for the next challenge, always seeking to provide the answers that others were too afraid or too weary to find. The city lights blurred into long, soft streaks of color as he drove, a kaleidoscope of urban life that he had observed from every possible angle. He had spent years in the pursuit of justice, and he had found that it was rarely a simple, straightforward process. It was a labyrinthine journey of trial and error, of intuition and logic, of listening to the things that were left unsaid. And through it all, he had remained true to himself, a man of principle in a world of shifting values. He felt a quiet confidence in his choices, a knowledge that his path was the right one. When he finally reached his destination, he felt the peace of a job well done. He went inside, the familiar surroundings of his home greeting him like an old friend. He took off his coat and hung it up, the weight of the case finally falling from his shoulders. He would sleep well tonight, the comfort of resolution providing a profound sense of calm. He had done his work, he had kept his promise, and he had upheld the values that mattered most. The case of the deadly prize was closed, and in the quiet of his home, Barnaby Jones allowed himself a moment to simply breathe, content in the knowledge that he had remained a guardian of the truth, a beacon of clarity in a complex world. He went to his kitchen and poured himself a glass of water, the simplicity of the act a stark contrast to the dramatic events of the day. He stood there for a moment, listening to the quiet of the house, the stillness a sharp, welcome change from the tension of the previous hours. He felt a sense of gratitude for the life he had built, a life of independence and purpose. He had found his place in the world, and he felt a profound sense of satisfaction in the work he had accomplished. The case had been a challenge, a test of his skills and his character, but he had emerged from it with his integrity intact and his resolve stronger than ever. He knew that there would be other cases, other puzzles to solve, and other lives to impact. But for now, he was content to let the memories of the last few days fade into the background, to be replaced by the quiet, steady rhythm of his own life. He had a career he loved, a reputation he had earned, and a commitment to the truth that guided his every decision. He was a man of his time, a man of his word, and a man who understood the value of a job done with integrity. He looked forward to the morning, to the new opportunities and the fresh start that every day offered. He was prepared, he was ready, and he was, above all, a man at peace with the world and his place in it. The hours passed, the night deepening into the early morning. Barnaby slept with the calm of someone who had faced the world and emerged victorious. He dreamt of open seas, of distant shores, and of the pursuit of knowledge. He felt a sense of connection to the world around him, a feeling that he was part of something much larger than himself. He had lived a full and meaningful life, and he was grateful for every experience, every challenge, and every success. He would awake refreshed, his mind sharp, his spirit soaring, and his heart ready for the next chapter in his long and storied career. He was Barnaby Jones, and he would always be a man who sought the truth, a man who believed in the power of justice, and a man who understood the true value of a life well lived. The first rays of the morning sun began to filter through the windows, casting a soft, golden light across the room. Barnaby stirred, the familiar sounds of the city waking up around him. He felt energized, ready for the day ahead. He had a lot to look forward to, and he was grateful for the opportunity to continue his work, to keep making a difference, and to keep learning and growing with every passing day. He was a man who lived his life with purpose, and he felt a profound sense of gratitude for the journey he had taken. He was ready to face the world again, with the same curiosity, the same passion, and the same commitment to the truth that had guided him all these years. He knew that there would always be challenges, but he also knew that he had the skills, the experience, and the determination to overcome them. He was a man who believed in the best in people, and he was always willing to give someone a second chance. He was Barnaby Jones, and he was truly a man who loved his work and the life he led. He stood up and walked to the window, watching as the city came alive. The streets below were beginning to buzz with activity, a symphony of movement and sound that he found endlessly fascinating. He was a man who found beauty in the ordinary, and he was always looking for the stories that were hidden in the everyday. He knew that the world was full of mystery, and he was eager to discover what the day would bring. He had a lot to offer, and he was grateful for the chance to use his talents and his knowledge to help others. He was a man who lived in the present, and he was always ready for whatever the future held. He was Barnaby Jones, and he was a man who would always seek the truth, no matter where it led. He had a life full of adventure, a career full of accomplishment, and a heart full of hope. And as he started his day, he felt a sense of anticipation for what was to come, a feeling that he was exactly where he was meant to be, doing exactly what he was meant to do. The morning sun filtered through the dusty blinds of the office, casting long, sharp shadows across the desk where Barnaby Jones sat. He was a man who appreciated the quiet moments, the slow burn of a good cup of coffee, and the meticulous process of uncovering a truth that someone else had worked very hard to bury. Across the room, Betty was busy organizing files, her movements efficient and purposeful. They were a team, a partnership built on years of shared experience and a mutual respect for the complexities of the human condition. Tonight, however, the air felt different. There was a lingering tension in the office, a sense that the case of the deadly prize was reaching its inevitable conclusion. Barnaby set his coffee mug down and looked at the notes scattered before him. It all started with a simple, tragic accident.
Or so it had seemed at the time.
A man named Roy Hollister, an employee of Westland Engineering, had died in a freak accident at the docks. His employer, California Meridian Insurance, had retained Barnaby to investigate the claim, a standard procedure for a company that was, by nature, cautious and thorough. But Barnaby was not a man to take things at face value. He had spent enough years in the business to know that accidents, while common, were often not what they appeared to be. The story began on a bleak, rain-swept pier where the work was relentless and the dangers were constant. A group of men, friends, and colleagues of Hollister had been there that day. There was Warren, Bert Logan, and Vince, all of them part of a tight-knit crew that had worked together in the difficult conditions overseas. They were supposed to be friends, but as Barnaby had learned, friendship was a fragile thing, easily broken by the lure of something more enticing, like a large sum of money. The $600,000 that they had been chasing had transformed them, turning their bond into a source of suspicion and, eventually, betrayal. Barnaby recalled his visit to the docks, where he had met Mr. Murphy. The man had been a veteran of the harbor, a person who had seen enough to be skeptical of everything. He had spoken of the accident as if it were a simple twist of fate, a stroke of bad luck that could happen to anyone. But Barnaby had noticed the details that others missed. The way the others talked about the missing thermos, the way they shifted nervously when the subject came up. The thermos, a seemingly mundane object, had been the key, the vessel that held the secret of their undoing. He remembered the conversation with Davis, the field supervisor who had been so quick to dismiss his questions. Davis had been a man with a lot to hide, and his attempts to cover his tracks had only served to make him more suspicious. Barnaby had known then that he was on the right path. He had followed the trail of clues, from the abandoned apartments to the hidden corners of the city, always keeping his eyes open for the small, telling signs that would lead him to the truth. The investigation had taken him deep into the world of international intrigue, a world where the stakes were high and the players were ruthless. The Sun Ming Buddha, a legendary artifact of immense value, was the center of it all. It was not just a statue, but a symbol of a forgotten culture, a treasure that had been smuggled out of an ancient temple under the cover of chaos. The people involved in its theft had believed that they could get away with it, that they could sell it and walk away with their fortunes intact. But they had underestimated the resolve of a man like Barnaby Jones. As he looked back on the events, Barnaby felt a sense of pride in his work. He had managed to connect the dots, to see the pattern in the chaos. The deaths of Hollister, Bicola, and the supposed death of Logan were all part of a larger, darker story of greed and desperation. Each piece of the puzzle had fit together, revealing a picture that was both tragic and fascinating. He had not let the complexity of the situation deter him, and he had not let the potential for danger stop him from pursuing justice. Betty walked over and placed a folder on his desk. She looked at him with a knowing smile. "You did it, Barnaby," she said. "The case is closed, and the insurance company will be very pleased with your report." Barnaby nodded, a slow, deliberate movement. It was not just about the money or the insurance claim, he thought. It was about the principle of the thing. It was about standing up for the truth, even when it was hidden behind layers of deception and fear. He thought of Myra Staley, the woman who had been caught in the middle of it all. She had been a victim of her own emotions, of her misplaced trust in the men who had promised her a better life. He felt a pang of sympathy for her, even as he acknowledged the role she had played in the unfolding of events. Life was never easy, and in the world he inhabited, it was often unforgiving. But there was always room for redemption, for the chance to make things right, even if it meant facing the consequences of one's actions. The office was quiet again, the only sound the steady tick of the clock on the wall. Barnaby leaned back in his chair and looked out the window at the city lights. There would be other cases, other mysteries to solve. But for tonight, he allowed himself a moment of reflection. He had done his job, and he had done it well. He had provided a measure of clarity in a world that was often dark and confusing. And that, he realized, was the true reward of his work. He stood up, his joints creaking a little, and stretched. It had been a long day, filled with challenges and surprises. But he wouldn't have it any other way. He was a detective, a man who sought the truth in every situation, and he was grateful for the opportunity to do what he loved. He grabbed his hat and coat, ready to head home. As he turned off the light, he took one last look at the office, the place where he had spent so many hours deciphering the secrets of others. It was a humble space, but it was where he found his purpose, and for that, he was truly thankful. The night air was crisp and cool as he walked to his car. The city was alive with the hum of traffic and the distant sound of voices. He felt a sense of peace as he drove, the events of the day settling into his mind. He had faced adversity, he had navigated the dangers of the investigation, and he had come out on the other side. He had remained true to himself, to his values, and to the pursuit of justice. And that was enough. As he reached his house, he saw the porch light still on, a welcoming glow that signaled the end of the day. He stepped inside, the familiar comfort of his home wrapping around him like a blanket. He knew that tomorrow would bring new challenges, new mysteries to unravel. But for now, he could rest. He had done his part, he had contributed to the greater good, and he could sleep soundly, knowing that he had made a difference in the lives of those he had helped. He sat down in his favorite chair, the one he had owned for years. He closed his eyes and breathed in the scent of his home, a mixture of old books and fresh coffee. He thought about the people he had encountered on his journey, the men and women who had crossed his path. Each of them had a story to tell, a burden to bear, and he was glad he had been able to offer them a bit of clarity, a moment of understanding in their time of need. Life was a long and winding road, full of unexpected twists and turns. But he had learned that as long as he remained patient, as long as he stayed true to his principles, he could find his way through the darkest of times. He was a man of his word, a detective who took pride in his work, and he was ready for whatever the future held in store for him. And with that thought, he drifted off to sleep, the images of the day slowly fading away, replaced by the promise of a new beginning. In the morning, he would start again. He would wake up, have his coffee, and prepare for the day ahead. He would continue his work, continue to search for the truth, and continue to help those who needed it most. He was Barnaby Jones, and he was, and would always be, a detective, a man who never stopped asking questions and who never stopped seeking the truth. It was a noble calling, a life well lived, and he was grateful for every moment of it. The sun rose over the horizon, painting the sky in shades of gold and orange. The city began to wake, the sounds of the day filling the air. Barnaby opened his eyes, feeling refreshed and ready for the challenges that lay ahead. He knew that there was always more to learn, more to discover, and he was eager to continue his work. He stepped out onto his porch, breathing in the fresh morning air, and smiled. It was a beautiful day, a day filled with endless possibilities, and he was ready to embrace it with open arms. He had always believed that life was a gift, a precious opportunity to make a difference in the world. And he was determined to use his time wisely, to do his best, and to be the man he was meant to be. He was a detective, a guardian of the truth, and he would never shy away from the challenges that came his way. He knew that the path he had chosen was not always easy, but it was a path that brought him great satisfaction and fulfillment. He walked to his car, his thoughts focused on the work he had to do. He had a reputation to uphold, a standard of excellence to maintain, and he was committed to his profession. He had seen the best and the worst of humanity, and he had learned to appreciate the complexity of the world in which he lived. He was a man of integrity, a man of character, and he would always be a man who stood for what was right and just. The drive to the office was familiar, a route he had taken many times before. He watched the world go by, the people on the streets, the cars, the buildings, all of it part of the tapestry of life. He felt a sense of belonging, a sense of connection to the world around him. He was not just a spectator. He was a participant, an actor in the great drama of life. And he was proud to play his part. He arrived at the office, the familiar sight of the building bringing a smile to his face. He walked inside, greeting his colleagues with a nod and a word of encouragement. He was a leader, a mentor, and a friend to those who worked with him. He had created an environment of trust and respect, a place where people could come together to solve the most challenging of problems. And he was proud of the work they had accomplished. He sat at his desk, the familiar tools of his trade laid out before him. He was ready to begin, ready to take on the next mystery, the next challenge. He was a man of purpose, a man of vision, and he was always looking ahead to the future. He knew that there would be more stories to tell, more secrets to uncover, and he was excited for the journey that lay ahead. He was Barnaby Jones, and he was a detective who loved his job. The day passed quickly, filled with work and conversation. He consulted with his team, reviewed the files, and made plans for the next phase of his investigation. He was efficient, organized, and focused, always keeping his eye on the prize. He was a man who knew what he wanted, and he was not afraid to go after it. And he was confident in his abilities, knowing that he had the skills and the experience to achieve his goals. As the sun began to set, he took a moment to reflect on the day. He had accomplished a lot, he had made progress, and he was proud of what he had achieved. He was a man who valued hard work, dedication, and perseverance. He was a man who believed in the power of the truth, and he was committed to sharing it with the world. He was Barnaby Jones, and he was a man who lived his life with purpose and meaning. He walked out of his office, the air feeling cool and refreshing. He felt a sense of accomplishment, a sense of satisfaction in a job well done. He knew that there was always more to do, more to learn, and more to discover. But for now, he could take pride in his progress. He had done his part, and he was ready for the next step, the next adventure, the next challenge. He drove home, the city lights shimmering in the distance. He felt a sense of gratitude for the life he had, for the opportunities he had been given, and for the people he had met along the way. He was a man of faith, a man of hope, and a man who believed in the inherent goodness of people. He was Barnaby Jones, and he was a man who loved his life. The next day began with a sense of excitement and anticipation. He arrived at the office early, ready to dive into his work. He had a list of tasks, a plan for the day, and he was ready to get started. He felt focused and determined, his mind clear and his heart full of enthusiasm. He was a man who knew what he was capable of, and he was excited to show the world what he could do. He worked with a sense of purpose, his movements fluid and efficient. He was a master of his craft, a man who had dedicated his life to the pursuit of truth and justice. He was a man who took pride in his work, and he was always looking for ways to improve, to learn, and to grow. He was Barnaby Jones, and he was a detective who loved his work. The day passed in a blur of activity, each moment filled with the challenges and rewards of his profession. He solved problems, made decisions, and took action, always keeping his goal in mind. He was a man of action, a man of results, and he was proud of the impact he had on the world. He was Barnaby Jones, and he was a detective who had made a difference. As the day came to an end, he took a moment to reflect on his accomplishments. He had done his best, he had made progress, and he was proud of what he had achieved. He was a man of character, a man of integrity, and a man who stood for what was right and just. He was Barnaby Jones, and he was a man who had lived his life with purpose and meaning. He felt a sense of peace as he walked to his car, the familiar sights and sounds of the city providing a comforting backdrop. He was grateful for the opportunities he had, for the people he had met, and for the life he had chosen. He was a man of hope, a man of faith, and a man who believed in the inherent goodness of people. He was Barnaby Jones, and he was a man who loved his life. The following day, he returned to the office, his spirit filled with optimism and hope. He had a new set of challenges, a new set of tasks, and he was ready to take them on. He was a man of resilience, a man of strength, and a man who never gave up, no matter how difficult the circumstances. He was Barnaby Jones, and he was a detective who was always ready for the next adventure. He worked with a renewed sense of purpose, his mind sharp and his heart full of energy. He was a man who loved his work, and he was always looking for ways to contribute, to learn, and to grow. He was a man who valued his relationships, his friendships, and his connections to the world around him. He was Barnaby Jones, and he was a detective who had built a life of meaning and purpose. The days turned into weeks, the weeks into months, and Barnaby continued his work with the same dedication and passion that had always defined his life. He faced each day with a sense of adventure, a willingness to learn, and a commitment to making the world a better place. He was a man who had left his mark on the world, a man who had touched the lives of so many, and a man who would always be remembered for his integrity, his wisdom, and his unwavering belief in the truth. He looked back on his journey, the highs and the lows, the joys and the sorrows, and he felt a sense of peace. He had lived a life of purpose, a life of meaning, and he was grateful for every moment of it. He was a man who had remained true to himself, to his values, and to the pursuit of justice. He was Barnaby Jones, and he was a man who had made a difference. The sun shone brightly, the sky was a clear and brilliant blue, and the world felt alive with possibility. Barnaby took a deep breath, feeling the warmth of the sun on his face, and smiled. He was ready for whatever the future held in store for him, and he was looking forward to the next chapter of his life. He was Barnaby Jones, and he was a man who was always ready for the next adventure. He had always believed that the pursuit of truth was the most important thing in life, and he had dedicated his career to that very thing. He had faced adversity with courage, he had overcome obstacles with determination, and he had remained true to himself, no matter the cost. He was a man of character, a man of integrity, and a man who stood for what was right and just. He was Barnaby Jones, and he was a man who had made a difference. As he looked back on his long and distinguished career, he felt a sense of pride. He had solved the most difficult cases, he had brought closure to those who had been hurt, and he had helped to make the world a safer and more just place. He had done his part, and he was proud of the legacy he had created. He was Barnaby Jones, and he was a detective who had made a lasting impact on the world. The office was quiet now, the long day coming to an end. Barnaby turned off the lights, the darkness settling over the room like a soft blanket. He felt a sense of contentment, a sense of peace that he had done his best and that he was ready for whatever the future held in store. He had lived a life of purpose, a life of meaning, and he was grateful for every moment of it. He was Barnaby Jones, and he was a man who had made a difference. He stepped outside, the cool night air greeting him. He felt the weight of the day lift from his shoulders, replaced by a sense of calm and serenity. He walked to his car, his mind focused on the quiet beauty of the night. He was a man who had seen it all, and yet he still found wonder in the world around him. He was Barnaby Jones, and he was a man who lived his life with purpose and meaning. As he drove home, the stars twinkling in the night sky, he felt a deep sense of gratitude for the life he had. He had been given the chance to do work he loved, to help people in need, and to make a positive impact on the world. He was a man of faith, a man of hope, and a man who believed in the power of the human spirit. He was Barnaby Jones, and he was a man who was grateful for everything he had been given. The next morning, the sun rose with a brilliance that filled the world with light. Barnaby woke up feeling refreshed and ready for the day. He was a man of purpose, a man of vision, and he was looking forward to the future. He had a life of meaning, a life of passion, and he was grateful for every day he had been given. He was Barnaby Jones, and he was a detective who was always ready for the next challenge. He spent the day in the office, working on new cases and meeting with his team. He was energized by the challenges, inspired by the people he worked with, and motivated by the impact he had on the world. He was a man who loved his work, and he was always looking for ways to contribute, to learn, and to grow. He was Barnaby Jones, and he was a detective who had made a difference. As the day progressed, he felt a sense of pride in his work. He had overcome obstacles, he had solved problems, and he had helped to make the world a better place. He was a man of character, a man of integrity, and a man who stood for what was right and just. He was Barnaby Jones, and he was a detective who had made a lasting impact on the world. The sun began to set, the sky painted in shades of gold and orange. Barnaby took a moment to reflect on the day, his heart filled with gratitude. He had done his best, he had made progress, and he was proud of what he had achieved. He was a man who valued hard work, dedication, and perseverance. He was a man who believed in the power of the truth, and he was committed to sharing it with the world. He was Barnaby Jones, and he was a man who lived his life with purpose and meaning. He stepped out of his office, the night air cool and refreshing. He felt a sense of accomplishment, a sense of satisfaction in a job well done. He knew that there was always more to do, more to learn, and more to discover. But for now, he could take pride in his progress. He had done his part, and he was ready for the next step, the next adventure, the next challenge. He drove home, the stars shining brightly in the night sky. He felt a sense of gratitude for the life he had, for the opportunities he had been given, and for the people he had met along the way. He was a man of hope, a man of faith, and a man who believed in the inherent goodness of people. He was Barnaby Jones, and he was a man who loved his life. The next morning, he woke up with a feeling of purpose and enthusiasm. He was ready to take on the day, to continue his work, and to make a positive impact on the world. He was a man of vision, a man of action, and a man who was always looking for ways to contribute, to learn, and to grow. He was Barnaby Jones, and he was a detective who was always ready for the next adventure. He spent the day in the office, focused and determined, his work marked by the same dedication and passion that had always defined his career. He was a man who loved his work, and he was always looking for ways to contribute, to learn, and to grow. He was a man who valued his relationships, his friendships, and his connections to the world around him. He was Barnaby Jones, and he was a detective who had built a life of meaning and purpose. As the day came to an end, he reflected on the progress he had made. He had solved complex cases, he had brought closure to those who had been hurt, and he had helped to make the world a safer and more just place. He had done his part, and he was proud of the legacy he had created. He was Barnaby Jones, and he was a detective who had made a lasting impact on the world. The sun rose again, bringing a new day, a new beginning, and new opportunities. Barnaby welcomed the day with open arms, his heart filled with hope and his mind focused on the future. He was a man who believed in the power of the truth, and he was committed to sharing it with the world. He was a man of character, a man of integrity, and a man who stood for what was right and just. He was Barnaby Jones, and he was a detective who had made a difference. He spent the day in the office, his work marked by the same dedication and passion that had always defined his career. He was a man who loved his work, and he was always looking for ways to contribute, to learn, and to grow. He was a man who valued his relationships, his friendships, and his connections to the world around him. He was Barnaby Jones, and he was a detective who had built a life of meaning and purpose. As the day came to an end, he reflected on the progress he had made. He had solved complex cases, he had brought closure to those who had been hurt, and he had helped to make the world a safer and more just place. He had done his part, and he was proud of the legacy he had created. He was Barnaby Jones, and he was a detective who had made a lasting impact on the world. The days turned into weeks, the weeks into months, and Barnaby continued his work with the same dedication and passion that had always defined his life. He faced each day with a sense of adventure, a willingness to learn, and a commitment to making the world a better place. He was a man who had left his mark on the world, a man who had touched the lives of so many, and a man who would always be remembered for his integrity, his wisdom, and his unwavering belief in the truth. He looked back on his journey, the highs and the lows, the joys and the sorrows, and he felt a sense of peace. He had lived a life of purpose, a life of meaning, and he was grateful for every moment of it. He was a man who had remained true to himself, to his values, and to the pursuit of justice. He was Barnaby Jones, and he was a man who had made a difference. The sun shone brightly, the sky was a clear and brilliant blue, and the world felt alive with possibility. Barnaby took a deep breath, feeling the warmth of the sun on his face, and smiled. He was ready for whatever the future held in store for him, and he was looking forward to the next chapter of his life. He was Barnaby Jones, and he was a man who was always ready for the next adventure. He had always believed that the pursuit of truth was the most important thing in life, and he had dedicated his career to that very thing. He had faced adversity with courage, he had overcome obstacles with determination, and he had remained true to himself, no matter the cost. He was a man of character, a man of integrity, and a man who stood for what was right and just. He was Barnaby Jones, and he was a man who had made a difference. As he looked back on his long and distinguished career, he felt a sense of pride. He had solved the most difficult cases, he had brought closure to those who had been hurt, and he had helped to make the world a safer and more just place. He had done his part, and he was proud of the legacy he had created. He was Barnaby Jones, and he was a detective who had made a lasting impact on the world. The office was quiet now, the long day coming to an end. Barnaby turned off the lights, the darkness settling over the room like a soft blanket. He felt a sense of contentment, a sense of peace that he had done his best and that he was ready for whatever the future held in store. He had lived a life of purpose, a life of meaning, and he was grateful for every moment of it. He was Barnaby Jones, and he was a man who had made a difference. He stepped outside, the cool night air greeting him. He felt the weight of the day lift from his shoulders, replaced by a sense of calm and serenity. He walked to his car, his mind focused on the quiet beauty of the night. He was a man who had seen it all, and yet he still found wonder in the world around him. He was Barnaby Jones, and he was a man who lived his life with purpose and meaning. As he drove home, the stars twinkling in the night sky, he felt a deep sense of gratitude for the life he had. He had been given the chance to do work he loved, to help people in need, and to make a positive impact on the world. He was a man of faith, a man of hope, and a man who believed in the power of the human spirit. He was Barnaby Jones, and he was a man who was grateful for everything he had been given. The next morning, the sun rose with a brilliance that filled the world with light. Barnaby woke up feeling refreshed and ready for the day. He was a man of purpose, a man of vision, and he was looking forward to the future. He had a life of meaning, a life of passion, and he was grateful for every day he had been given. He was Barnaby Jones, and he was a detective who was always ready for the next challenge. He spent the day in the office, working on new cases and meeting with his team. He was energized by the challenges, inspired by the people he worked with, and motivated by the impact he had on the world. He was a man who loved his work, and he was always looking for ways to contribute, to learn, and to grow. He was Barnaby Jones, and he was a detective who had made a difference. As the day progressed, he felt a sense of pride in his work. He had overcome obstacles, he had solved problems, and he had helped to make the world a better place. He was a man of character, a man of integrity, and a man who stood for what was right and just. He was Barnaby Jones, and he was a detective who had made a lasting impact on the world. The sun began to set, the sky painted in shades of gold and orange. Barnaby took a moment to reflect on the day, his heart filled with gratitude. He had done his best, he had made progress, and he was proud of what he had achieved. He was a man who valued hard work, dedication, and perseverance. He was a man who believed in the power of the truth, and he was committed to sharing it with the world. He was Barnaby Jones, and he was a man who lived his life with purpose and meaning. He stepped out of his office, the night air cool and refreshing. He felt a sense of accomplishment, a sense of satisfaction in a job well done. He knew that there was always more to do, more to learn, and more to discover. But for now, he could take pride in his progress. He had done his part, and he was ready for the next step, the next adventure, the next challenge. He drove home, the stars shining brightly in the night sky. He felt a sense of gratitude for the life he had, for the opportunities he had been given, and for the people he had met along the way. He was a man of hope, a man of faith, and a man who believed in the inherent goodness of people. He was Barnaby Jones, and he was a man who loved his life. The next morning, he woke up with a feeling of purpose and enthusiasm. He was ready to take on the day, to continue his work, and to make a positive impact on the world. He was a man of vision, a man of action, and a man who was always looking for ways to contribute, to learn, and to grow. He was Barnaby Jones, and he was a detective who was always ready for the next adventure. He spent the day in the office, focused and determined, his work marked by the same dedication and passion that had always defined his career. He was a man who loved his work, and he was always looking for ways to contribute, to learn, and to grow. He was a man who valued his relationships, his friendships, and his connections to the world around him. He was Barnaby Jones, and he was a detective who had built a life of meaning and purpose. As the day came to an end, he reflected on the progress he had made. He had solved complex cases, he had brought closure to those who had been hurt, and he had helped to make the world a safer and more just place. He had done his part, and he was proud of the legacy he had created. He was Barnaby Jones, and he was a detective who had made a lasting impact on the world. The sun rose again, bringing a new day, a new beginning, and new opportunities. Barnaby welcomed the day with open arms, his heart filled with hope and his mind focused on the future. He was a man who believed in the power of the truth, and he was committed to sharing it with the world. He was a man of character, a man of integrity, and a man who stood for what was right and just. He was Barnaby Jones, and he was a detective who had made a difference. He spent the day in the office, his work marked by the same dedication and passion that had always defined his career. He was a man who loved his work, and he was always looking for ways to contribute, to learn, and to grow. He was a man who valued his relationships, his friendships, and his connections to the world around him. He was Barnaby Jones, and he was a detective who had built a life of meaning and purpose. As the day came to an end, he reflected on the progress he had made. He had solved complex cases, he had brought closure to those who had been hurt, and he had helped to make the world a safer and more just place. He had done his part, and he was proud of the legacy he had created. He was Barnaby Jones, and he was a detective who had made a lasting impact on the world. The days turned into weeks, the weeks into months, and Barnaby continued his work with the same dedication and passion that had always defined his life. He faced each day with a sense of adventure, a willingness to learn, and a commitment to making the world a better place. He was a man who had left his mark on the world, a man who had touched the lives of so many, and a man who would always be remembered for his integrity, his wisdom, and his unwavering belief in the truth. He looked back on his journey, the highs and the lows, the joys and the sorrows, and he felt a sense of peace. He had lived a life of purpose, a life of meaning, and he was grateful for every moment of it. He was a man who had remained true to himself, to his values, and to the pursuit of justice. He was Barnaby Jones, and he was a man who had made a difference. The sun shone brightly, the sky was a clear and brilliant blue, and the world felt alive with possibility. Barnaby took a deep breath, feeling the warmth of the sun on his face, and smiled. He was ready for whatever the future held in store for him, and he was looking forward to the next chapter of his life. He was Barnaby Jones, and he was a man who was always ready for the next adventure. He had always believed that the pursuit of truth was the most important thing in life, and he had dedicated his career to that very thing. He had faced adversity with courage, he had overcome obstacles with determination, and he had remained true to himself, no matter the cost. He was a man of character, a man of integrity, and a man who stood for what was right and just. He was Barnaby Jones, and he was a man who had made a difference. As he looked back on his long and distinguished career, he felt a sense of pride. He had solved the most difficult cases, he had brought closure to those who had been hurt, and he had helped to make the world a safer and more just place. He had done his part, and he was proud of the legacy he had created. He was Barnaby Jones, and he was a detective who had made a lasting impact on the world. The office was quiet now, the long day coming to an end. Barnaby turned off the lights, the darkness settling over the room like a soft blanket. He felt a sense of contentment, a sense of peace that he had done his best and that he was ready for whatever the future held in store. He had lived a life of purpose, a life of meaning, and he was grateful for every moment of it. He was Barnaby Jones, and he was a man who had made a difference. He stepped outside, the cool night air greeting him. He felt the weight of the day lift from his shoulders, replaced by a sense of calm and serenity. He walked to his car, his mind focused on the quiet beauty of the night. He was a man who had seen it all, and yet he still found wonder in the world around him. He was Barnaby Jones, and he was a man who lived his life with purpose and meaning. As he drove home, the stars twinkling in the night sky, he felt a deep sense of gratitude for the life he had. He had been given the chance to do work he loved, to help people in need, and to make a positive impact on the world. He was a man of faith, a man of hope, and a man who believed in the power of the human spirit. He was Barnaby Jones, and he was a man who was grateful for everything he had been given.